Well, good evening, everyone. I am Boomy Anderson, and I am the host of Intersection with Boomy Anderson. Tonight, this is my premiere episode for the season. As many of you know, I have not been doing as many podcasts as I would like to do, and so hopefully, this season we will do more podcasts. I am grateful for the opportunity to um, spend with you um, as much as I have. I've been so busy doing content creation that I have not had the opportunity to do as many podcasts. So, but hopefully that will change as I start to do more. Podcast in the near future. So tonight again is the premiere episode, and I hope that you all are able to hear me and see me. Um, I can hear myself, and I heard my guest earlier. So I'm going to assume that the sound is fine. If you are watching, hopefully I even I did some advertising of this season premiere podcast, and I want to emphasize season premiere because it is not my first podcast. Okay, I know it's been a couple of months since I have, well, more than a couple. It's been quite a few months since I've done an actual podcast. So and I'll just tell you why, just give you a little. And I actually did an episode, I did a piece of content on this. I actually have had a very difficult time mentally getting back into the podcast thing because of the mishap podcast that I had a few months ago, and I have not been able to um, correct that podcast. And so I've been kind of feeling a little melancholy and a little disappointed in haven't really. I'm trying to get my feeling back because of disappointment was a tremendous disappointment. I am hoping to show a little bit of that podcast, not tonight, but of that particular episode. But I want to show it just a little. And one of my friends who's an audio engineer has told me not to do that, but I feel like I need to show just a little. I actually had, and I never mentioned the person's name, but I actually had an interview with Dr. Otis Moss III. And so that was the podcast where there was some reverb um, um, in his mic. And so it was bouncing back. And so I did not, because I was not wearing headphones that night, um, I did not hear it until the interview was over, and we have not been able to redo that, and I'm not sure if we'll be able to do it, at least not right now. And so I was very devastated when I heard that echo, that reverb bouncing back. And it was when I tell you, it was one of the most powerful interviews I had ever done. I mean, it was profound from start to finish. And I was so excited that I would be able to share with people, my community in particular, um, Southwest Georgia, Albany, Georgia, my social media community. I would be able to share a time of talking with one of the leading Black theologians in this country. And the echo, it was a terrible echo. But I am going to show you some of that interview in the near future, because it needs to be, um, you need to hear it. We need to hear it. And so that's where I've been kind of trying to get my groove back, as Stella would say, but in a podcast kind of way. But tonight, I want to um, tonight is um, a special night for a lot of reasons. Again, this is the season premiere of Intersection, and I have my partner in crime with me, Dr. Elizabeth Delancey. She is with me tonight. Hi, Dr. Delancey.
Hello, hello. How are you?
Should I call her Liz?
Yes, please do.
Liz Delancey. And so, how are things going?
Busy. It's a busy season. Yes.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. I'm hoping that my bags are not as apparent as I think they are.
Okay.
Woo. Yes.
Okay. Well, I think you're looking great. I'm glad that you're here
Thank you.
with me. I
Thank
have my
you.
computer on in my I have a monitor and have a computer here, and so I'm hearing you in my computer, and I'm getting a reading of your sound on my monitor. Um, so hopefully this is will turn out okay. This is the first time I've done a podcast actually.
Right.
Um, since I went to my new setup. Um, so yeah. All right.
Nerves out with me. It'll be
Huh?
fine. You'll get the
All right.
nerves out. I know you've been like resisting doing that because I know it stung, but I think that that interview that you're referencing with Dr. Otis Moss was tremendous. It really was.
Yeah. So I don't even know if everybody even heard me they heard me, but then when you first started talking, they probably didn't hear you because I had to put you into my system. But yeah,
Okay.
that you talk and we talked about Dr. Moss and I talked about all the things we carry because that is a series, everybody, that I'm going to be doing at least once every 3 months. So maybe we can get him in by the end of the year. His schedule is extremely busy, and I'm just hoping that by some divine something that we will connect at some point. But
Right.
the series, All the Things We Carry, is something that I really wanted to start doing. And so tonight I wanted to really, really say to the community that that is something that's really dear to me and I want to do it. And what I'm going to be doing with all the things we carry. Now I've done what Dr. Moss would have marked in the second part. So technically he's the second part two of that series. Part one of that series, the person who did the first inaugural episode of that series is Dr. Daniel Black. So he was the first
Yes.
one. And I just emailed him and said, oh, would you be on my podcast? And he said, yeah, sure. What day? And
He
so
is awesome. Oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
gosh.
And so hopefully we have a chance to have him again this season. So he was the first one and first person. And then I just happened to just ask Dr. Moss. Dr. Moss, I just inboxed him on IG and it's Dr. Moss, would you be on my podcast? So he said, well, let me give you my administrative assistant's email address and you know do the request with her. And I did. And when I played that, and you were here because
Right.
I was like, I want you to hear this. I was so excited about this because the interview was, when I tell you the interview was powerful, I don't even know if that's even that word even gives that interview justice. That interview was one for
Divine.
the ages.
It
Yeah,
really
it
was.
was
Yeah.
divine.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
uh I don't know what happened. But when I played
Well,
back that sound, oh my God.
yeah, but the thing is this, and I know your friends that don't do that. I don't believe it would tarnish your brand. No, no disrespect to your friend, because the content, the responses that Dr. Moss provided,
Yes.
you really kind of ignore. Look, it's worth hearing twice.
And you're going to hear
It's
him
just,
twice. Because it's an
it's
echo.
worth it though.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was just really great. It was
Yeah.
really great.
Yeah. So
Indeed.
maybe what I would do, what I should do, I should put like a little snippet and do a survey. Do you
Hmm.
want it? Would you want to hear this?
Yes. Or would it be too distracting? I think that the content is just so
I
rich,
don't
and
know.
well, well, you could always do that. Just ask, because I mean, with his schedule being such that it is, and you haven't been able to circle around. I mean, who knows? I mean, hopefully you'll get another chance, but if you don't, you still have that gem. And and listen. And there are technological advances being made every day. Who knows? There might
Right,
be some
right,
AI tool that's developed that can strip it of that echo. So
right, right.
keep
So
hope
we'll,
alive.
yeah. So we'll see. I mean, that was just like, I mean, oh, and you were privy to the effects of that, of that. I was depressed. I was mad. I was. It took
Right.
me days to even say, okay, let me ask, let me re-ask.
Right. Yeah.
So,
I
but
honestly, I mean, I'm going to say it. It probably, based on your history and that having never happened before, it could have been on his side,
yeah, yeah.
because you didn't do the usual things like,
I
testing,
didn't have my right. I
doing the
didn't. I did
auto,
not. Yeah,
so there were some things that were unusual.
yeah,
So, I
yeah,
mean, kiss it up to God.
yeah.
Um, but I know it did sting. I know.
Oh,
I
it's
know.
yeah, it did, and it still
But
stings.
I know, but the
Yeah,
series is really great, and
yeah.
I thought that that was really a tremendous topic, because for good and for bad, we do, especially as Black people,
Yes,
carry so much, like,
yes,
lit-
yes.
I like to call it blood memory. I didn't coin that phrase. I got it from Alvin Ailey. He used that term blood memory, and I just thought that that was just so apt, because we think about the things that we carry
Mm-hmm.
genetically, and I mean trauma,
Yes,
and like memories, it's just yeah, I think that that's just a really great thing for us to examine. What do we carry? And then there are some things that we carry that we need to set down. I was doing some research, and I can't remember Marita. Oh, I can't remember her last name right now, but she basically wrote a book about the Black woman, the strong Black woman, and how that trope impacts us psychologically and physically. Um, I think that a lot of us, I think about Alicia Keys as I am Superwoman.
mm,
Yes, I am. I can do it all of those things, and how a lot of times, particularly in I'll say the recent past, because a
mm-hmm.
lot of people have been saying, take the cape off, but in the recent past, a lot
Yes,
of women would just really lean into that to their physical detriment as well as psychological detriment, carrying the whole family, the whole
yes,
community. And then that whole thing, I really like to push back strongly on the idea that Black women, we're saving the nation. No, we know that
yes.
if we don't cape for ourselves, who's
Right,
going to come?
right.
So I mean, so that is something that it's like, no, you all just benefit from the fact
Yes,
that we do what we need for ourselves and for one another, and we are sisters keepers, and we're dedicated to that. Y'all just benefit. But a lot of us are throwing off the cape and being very intentional about when we put it on,
right,
you know um, because we don't need to carry it, and we don't need to believe we need to carry that, because there are so many things that we carry that are not ours, you know so
right, right.
it's just a thought.
So let's talk about the because I wrote down a list of things that I say that we carry. Number one, stories, of course.
Yes.
We carry silence. We carry trauma. Uh, we carry, sadly, we carry when and this could be interchangeably silence and secrets,
Mm.
which produces trauma.
Yes. It's a
Um,
nasty cycle. Yeah.
yes, but we carry survival.
Hmm.
We carry faith. I have my list here. We carry joy, music, memory. So we carry those things, creativity, pain. We carry all of those things. And so I think that is very important that we really talk about um, the effects of whether they be positive or negative, as a
Right.
people, as a culture. And of course, this is also Black History Month as well. So that's another key to,
Right.
um, you know, for us. I know you and I, we're through Black History 365. We're Black History,
Right.
but
Blackity
setting
black
aside,
black.
yes, and setting aside, and Carter G. Woodson, who's the father of Black History Week, um, felt it necessary that we set aside, and matter of fact, this is the 100th year of the observance of Black History Week slash
Mm,
month.
right.
1926, Carter G. Woodson started this particular week, and of course, I think in 1976, I think, or 72, something. Gerald Ford was the president, so whenever he was the president, he changed that to a monthly, an observance, for a month. Um, so Carter G. Woodson felt it necessary, and I think one of the reasons that he felt it necessary was because of what we carry, all the things that we do carry, that
Right.
we needed to be reminded of our resilience, our strength, our greatness. We need to be reminded of our history,
Yes.
our stories.
Right.
We need to be reminded what was done to us,
Hmm.
which
Right.
now is come full circle to that. There's
Ooh.
an attempt to erase,
Right.
our history, and
Right.
so yeah.
That's why it's important that those of us who carry it
Yes,
share it.
yes,
I know we had a conversation earlier today. You
hmm,
teach literature. I teach literature as well. Um, you, of course, have the great, I would say, joy of teaching our literature.
yes,
Um, but those things they tend to come up no matter what you teach. Because I
right,
teach uh, uh, dance appreciation, and just because of who I am, I want them to know their history through dance.
yes,
And what I am taken by is that the stories that particularly Generation X and probably
mm,
the millennials too carry,
yes,
somewhere along the line, those stories have been dropped. The
yes,
conversations are not happening. And it deepen. You talk about carrying something. I carry a deep sadness because a lot of the youth that I teach now, they have no idea. They have been lulled asleep because God, I don't know, their parents haven't emphasized it, or they're too distracted by all of the things that pull their attention. And I don't know, but it's really sad, because, we just finished talking about Jim Crow, the name Jim Crow. And I was sharing with them how that minstrel actor, Thomas Rice, took that name from an actual enslaved person named Jim Crow. I believe I'm telling this correctly. Daddy Jim Crow, and he took that name onto himself, and he mimicked this elderly man who, for some reason or another, was like physically damaged, like he was maimed, and with him being an enslaved person, I I shudder to think of why he was in that condition. But this Irish minstrel person saw him kind of hobbling along, and he thought it was the most hilarious thing. And so he took that aspect of this older ancestor,
hmm,
and incorporated that into his minstrel act, where he would wear blackface, cork, and the big thick, painted on lips, and then would exaggerate things about our culture and the way that we, you know, do things, etc. And
yeah,
then here we come with the Jim Crow laws, and so a lot of
hmm,
people don't know that oppressive system came. It started with dance,
mm,
and so drawing those connections, but then you know so, well, when they don't understand when that slavery The Emancipation Proclamation was in
Mm-hmm.
1863 and not 1930 something.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me want to cry, curse, run. I don't know. I mean, it's like, what do you call it when you set yourself on fire in protest and you run? I mean, it's just like, my God, it
Wow.
really, when we start talking about years, it may seem like a long time ago, but when we start talking about in terms of people and generations,
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't that long ago. We can point to people who are 100 years old, that the one thing that they say is, wow, I never thought that I would live to see our first African American president, those kinds of things, and the disconnect is very disheartening. And so what I like to do in my classes that I teach, and I'm going to say that it's not necessarily intentional, but then sometimes it becomes intentional. It's just who I am. In the dance productions that I
Mm-hmm.
do, that is, it's going to come out, because I'm a Black woman in America. And,
Yes.
and I look at, God, it's a lot. It's a lot. I look at, like what my sisters who 300,000, is that the number? Who lost
380, almost
it's
400,000. Yeah.
so almost 400,000 of our sisters lost their jobs during this
Yes.
regime,
Yes.
and that's intentional. I believe it's intentional. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
let's go ahead and go and reorg this situation, because then if we displace Black women, we destabilize Black communities.
Mm.
So you know what I'm saying? So it's just, we're now standing on marbles, but that word you said earlier, resilience,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Creativity, that also is something that we're on, you know what I mean? Because it's like, I personally have not been through enslavement, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I carry the memory of it. So I can
Right.
say we've been here before. When we talk about fascism, and people, need to listen, just in a little aside, people need to read Isabel Wilkerson's book,
Yes.
Caste,
Mm-hmm.
because what they would learn is that we need to stop calling what's going on in this country. We need to stop calling the people that are perpetrating this Nazis, because the Nazis learned from Southern whites how to oppress people. And
Mm-hmm.
the Nazis said, ooh, that's a bridge too far. Now, put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Mm-hmm.
So when we call them Nazis, no, I'm sorry. We can't give the Nazis credit. They
Yeah.
studied at the feet of the masters here in the United States.
Mm.
So let's share that information.
Yeah. Yeah.
So right here. So what we've always, as a people that carry the blood memory. Now, like I said, there are some that have been lulled asleep, okay, and they're delusional, and they've bought into white supremacy,
Mm-hmm.
and it's white supremacy and blackface. It happens, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not talking about them, because I don't know. I don't know if there's help for them, but it's the resilience is what I want to focus on, and the
Yes.
faith
Yeah.
and the creativity,
Yeah.
because we have, as a people, been here before, and as Maya Angelou said, and still I rise.
Mm-hmm.
We still rise. We still
And we have
rise.
to be reminded, and I think that's what part of my purpose is to remind us and to inform, because if you don't know anything, you can't be reminded. So,
Right.
but there's a generation of young people across the board, okay, in various aspects of life, that don't know. They
Yeah.
just think we they just think that we're here and everything is peaches and cream, everything,
Yeah.
kumbaya, and you
Kumbaya
know
who? Please. They don't even
they don't even
I'm
know
sorry.
that.
Listen,
They
it
don't
is
even know
not my
that.
intent to bash. It's not.
Yeah.
It
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's not, and I'm going to
Yeah.
say it, and it's not their fault, because this is something that has to be instilled.
Yeah.
Because you know what? When I hear the arguments about, oh, well, they're taking away our Black history in school, child, I didn't have that in school.
Right. I didn't
I
either.
went to a parochial school
Mm-hmm.
where, when a lot of the children who went there, who were not hued, who were melanemic, as Karen Hunter would say,
Mm-hmm.
maybe felt sheltered. Oh, I was well prepared for the
Yes.
world because it
Yes.
was racist, you know?
Mhm.
And so I cut my teeth on all of that. Okay,
Yeah.
so, um, you know, that's not the experience that young people have, but the bottom line is this, around my dining room table,
Mhm.
in car rides
Yes.
to school, on car rides from ballet, when I was in tears because of some kind of injustice happened,
Mhm.
I would hear these stories that my mother would tell me, my father would tell me. My dad was in the military for 32 years. Okay, he passed in 22. He was born in 37. Okay,
Mhm.
so he saw some changes and he was at the front lines of a lot of changes in the military.
Mm.
Okay. And he would tell me stories, and I'm glad I remember most of them, and I'm not gonna, stretch them out here, but he was on the forefront during the civil rights movement. Okay. He joined the military in the 50s. He
Wow.
talked about um, integrating diners inadvertently, but nonetheless.
Mm.
When he was riding from coast to coast on the bus, the trailways, I think at the time you know so I would hear stories about I just saw something on Instagram that one of my besties shared with me about the military, black people in the military, in the Navy, and how they would work together to pass these tests. And when
Mhm.
black folks started passing these tests, they did away with these exams because they
Wow.
were intentionally set there to be a burden. And my dad would tell me stories about this, and these things would encourage me to let me know my dad dealt with things that were worse and he still rose. My mother dealt with all kinds of things and yet she rose. So that inspired me. Plus the fact that I couldn't do any kind of report, my report on just anything or anybody, unless, it was a prescribed, like, oh, you have to write about the American Revolution. We had to do
Mhm.
those kinds of reports. But if it was something that I could choose, you best believe it was some historical figure. It was Benjamin Banneker. Listen, Daniel Hale. I have
Mhm.
forgotten more Black history than some folks will ever know.
That's
Morgan
how
Garrett. You know what I'm saying? And
that's
I
how I
did
was.
these reports in grammar school.
That's how I
And my
was in
mother.
class. I
Mhm,
was in class today, and we were talking about Reconstruction because we're getting ready to
mm,
go into the phase of literature after
mm,
Reconstruction. And Booker T. Washington is up from slavery is the first
mm,
reading, and
mhm,
we were talking about the Reconstruction period, what all the things that went on. That was when of course, you had the opening of HBCUs. A lot of them opened right during that 10-year period of Reconstruction. The Freedmen's Bureau and how they came down south and built and started schools and to help black people acclimate to being citizens of the United States. And I said to my class, because the enslaved were not citizens. So that's where that word reconstruction came from.
mhm.
America needed to be reconstructed to fit a new citizen into legally a new
Right.
citizen. And so I was talking to them, and we were talking, and then we said Reconstruction. I said, well, then I went into Jim Crow, and there was some dates. Like I said, and I was, and I something we were talking about Plessy versus Ferguson, 1896 Supreme Court case that opened the door for the Jim Crow laws, but I could not remember this what happened
Mhm.
to in it to the what brought that case about. And I told him, I said, I've forgotten more than I say. I
Girl, you
mean,
said that. But it's true.
I say I can't. I said because I've forgotten the
Right.
details.
But didn't
You
we know
know,
it though? I mean, we
yeah.
knew
Of
Plessy
course I
verse.
knew
I
it,
mean, God, you know what
but
I'm
there
saying?
was there's so much that I know that I
Woo.
couldn't pull that in the moment. You know.
Right.
And so one of my students said, I think he was on the bubble, and it brought it said, I said it's
Brought it
exactly right.
back.
And I
Right.
was
And
stunned
listen,
when the student
I was getting ready to say, isn't that
when
awesome? And then
yeah, I was like,
and a
wow.
student of mine mentioned that as well the
Yeah.
other day, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
let me close my mouth.
But I don't know why
And
I
I
was
was really
stunned by that
pleased.
student. because
Well, yeah, but but it's
yeah,
so nice to know,
yeah,
because not all are unplugged,
yeah,
but there are
yeah,
some that are
yeah,
carrying the torch, and that
yeah,
does encourage me. I pray that
yeah.
they light other people on fire. I was in the student center on the East Campus, and it was time for something. I think it was like local elections, and I heard a group of young people. I think they were with the NAACP
Mm-hmm.
chapter, and they were in the student center walking around. It was just a small group of them. They were like asking, "Did you vote today? Did you vote? Did you vote?" And it just encouraged me because we were having a conversation about Jesse Jackson and his
Mm-hmm.
two campaigns.
Yes.
And so I remember, and I still have a button in my things. I keep everything,
I know you.
and I still
Yeah.
have like I believe a 1988 button. And
Mm-hmm.
I did phone calling for that campaign.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, and it just, and what a giant,
Yeah.
and
And I want to. We
and,
want to talk about him.
oh yeah.
Yeah. But go ahead. You sit way right into it. Just go.
Okay, well, I'm gonna toss it
Yeah.
back to you then.
No. Let's keep going. Because I
No, but I
wanted
was
to
just
talk
listening.
about, yeah, because we wanted to, you were talking about the campaign. So, I mean, the students, so it connected, connects to, because I had a whole, um, idea plan what I was going to talk about on tonight's show. And of course, when, it became known to us that Reverend Jackson, Jesse Jackson had passed. So that kind of, you know, threw my plans. And so we do want to honor him, honor his
Yes.
work. I mean, you're talking about, working the phones in 1988. I can remember in 1984, um, I was about 13. I was 13 years old, and I can
Hmm.
remember going. Charles Sherrod, old Charles Sherrod, uh, got up the children of the movement. What they called us? They called us movement babies. That's what they
Hmm.
call those whose parents were in the movement. They called us movement babies. Charles Sherrod came around and gathered up the movement babies. And Fema and I were 13 years old.
Hmm.
And we were out. I can remember canvassing the neighborhoods, South Albany, East Albany, wherever they put us, you know, working the Jesse Jackson campaign.
Hmm.
And I was thinking about Reverend Jackson. One of the things I was thinking about, doing that, and I've worked as a kid, worked on so many campaigns. I can't even count the number of campaigns, local, state, and national campaigns. But I will say this about Reverend. When I think about Reverend Jackson, I think about he was really one of the instrumental voices in my life as it relates to developing a love for politics. He was really instrumental because I can remember watching him in the DNC convention, and at those fiery speeches, and just and his charisma, and his wisdom, his knowledge, his passion was just, another level. And looking back on that, I was like, man, he really is one of the reasons why along with people like Charles Sherrod, Mary Young Cummings, I can call people who were John White, who were uh they all were state, well, Mary Young Cummings and John White were state reps, and Charles Sherrod was a city commissioner. Sherrod, Juanita Cribb came along a couple years later. First, I believe Juanita Cribb, it was the first black female city commissioner. It was city or county, I can't remember which one, in Albany. And so, and then knowing these people and working on the campaigns to help elect these people, Arthur K. Williams, These are all people that I worked on their campaigns at 9 and
As a
10,
young
12,
person, that's
yeah,
beautiful.
12 years old. I remember working on John White's campaigns. So, and then Jesse Jackson, 84 and 88, working on his campaign gave me a love for politics. Not to be a politician. I don't have a love for that. Okay. Let me just make that clear. But I have a love for the institution of politics and the study of it, which is why I have an undergraduate degree in political science. So Jesse Jackson's his influence, and I know we knew, for a couple of months that his health was deteriorating,
Right.
but it was still a shock when I happened to get up in the wee hours of the morning and I saw the alert that he passed away. So I definitely want to honor him, because he is, um he he was a giant in every sense of the word. And of course, and not perfect. I don't know why people, because there have been some, some little things dropped in certain circles, talking about his imperfections, okay, or his mistakes or whatever you want to call them. And I
Oh,
and I don't
being
want to call,
human.
and and,
Okay.
and and let me say this: I don't want to call it a mistake,
Mhm.
okay. I don't want to say, because I'm not going to call anything a mistake, all right. But because he doesn't, he did. I never heard him say anything that he's
Mhm.
ever done that people didn't like was a mistake. So I'm not going to say that, or something that people may, you know, um, perceive as wrong or whatever, not good or positive or whatever. So I'm not going to say that. But the guy, he was a human being, and he was a powerful human being, and I
Mhm.
think that's when I think about Reverend Jackson, um, and I made this analogy. And I don't know, because some people, probably veterans of the civil rights movement, might want to beat me up for this observation. Okay. Now this is Booming's observation. This is what I
Got
think.
it.
Okay. Um Timing is very important. We talk a lot about time, but timing is very important. Timing, because sometimes you can be in the right place at the wrong time.
Amen.
Okay. You could be in the right place and it be the wrong timing. Okay. Or you could be in a bad place at the right timing. Okay. So when
Out
I
of
think
place. Yeah.
about Reverend Jackson, okay, oftentimes when they're leaders have successors. For me personally, I see Reverend Jackson as a successor to Martin King's work. And I say that, and so I'm saying that to say he came on along at the right. The timing was right for him to, I think, be the next in line. Now, some people might say, "Well, you don't know what you're talking about because you ain't old enough." But I think that timing suggests to us that it skipped our parents and it landed on Jesse Jackson because of timing.
Right.
Now that's just my 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 thing. I just, when you're talking about succession, sometimes it's not that the person is not as articulate. It's not that the person is not as charismatic as the previous. Sometimes it's just timing. and it could skip because it's timing. Because the timing uh, made it skip, and
Right.
so that's why I
You
look.
know,
So I look at Jesse Jackson. I see
I
that.
like that.
I
I
see
like
that.
that
I see that.
because it's really it speaks to like destiny, you know.
Yes.
Because I think about, okay, so if it had been somebody else, you know, I mean, because one of my sister friends sent me a clip about one of his descendants talking about um, the Reverend's legacy and how it was
Mm-hmm.
global, you know,
Yeah.
and he was criticizing the press and how
Mm-hmm.
they put uh, Reverend Jackson in a very small container, but
Mm-hmm.
he could not be held by that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, perhaps if it had been somebody else, they could have been
Yeah.
held or just drummed out of existence. But this
Yeah.
man was, you know,
Yeah.
and he could not
I
be
think his
contained.
son said
And
that yesterday.
yeah, oh
Jesse
yeah, yeah,
Jesse
that's
Jr.
it.
Yeah. Jesse Jr. Yeah.
Yes. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and I
Yeah.
mean, and it's a fact, but he was able to rise beyond, push beyond those boundaries that particularly we understand why this country would want to quiet
Right.
him.
Right.
And we see that quieting in the press today. And you know,
Mm-hmm.
hey, it hurts my heart, you know, what's happening to the press, you know,
Yes.
particularly public broadcasting,
Mm-hmm.
um, like the lack of funds. And we know why they want to silence, because you know it's like the ability to shine light, but
Right.
because of destiny, because
Mm-hmm.
of purpose, destiny combined, and the
Mm-hmm.
timing, he was somebody that was going to have a global impact regardless.
Yeah.
And so that speaks to, again, resilience too.
Mm-hmm. And when you think
Yeah.
about actually his from the time of the King assassination in '68 to the election of Barack Obama, that's 40 years. That's a
Yes.
generation. And
Yes.
who stood between the assassination of King and the election of the first African American or black president of the United States?
He was
Jesse
the
Jackson,
bridge. Right.
the
And you
bridge.
know, when they were doing like a montage, you know, and you could that the image that I love dearly is when he's looking at President Obama
Mm-hmm.
and tears are streaming down
Mm-hmm.
his face, you
Yeah.
know. And I would like to think that he understood his place in being those shoulders,
Yes.
you know, because we
Yes.
all have shoulders. We,
Yes.
whether we recognize it or not, we all have those
Right.
shoulders.
Right.
He provided that. So he ran twice,
Mm-hmm.
and our first black president had 2 terms,
Yes.
you
Yes.
know, and so it's just, you know, that was tremendous. And I'm
And I don't
glad that
know
he
if we,
got a chance to
yeah, and
do that.
I don't know if we get a Barack Obama if it had not have been for those two presidential runs by
Right.
Reverend Jackson.
Right.
I
Right.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't
And
think so.
listen, and when it comes to politics, we can't forget about Shirley, right? Because she served as shoulders of a type for Jesse. I mean, even though
Yes.
we associate him
Yes.
with, you know, King,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
but she kicked down some doors
Shirley
too.
Chisholm. Yes.
He
Yes.
was, you know, and she was a contender.
Yes.
But you know, and the thing is this, out of time, right?
Yes.
But then it's so funny though, when we, and not to move away from um our powerful Jesse Jackson, but
Our
I think
ancestor.
about, yes, our powerful ancestor, whose presence will reverberate through time.
Yes.
Clearly, I mean, but you know, I think about um, Shirley Chisholm, and
Mm-hmm.
then I think about um, our would-be president Harris,
Mm-hmm. Should be
and
president. Yeah.
should be, would be, and should be President Harris,
Right.
and
Right.
you know, and how she had the same issues
Yes.
as Shirley. You know, it's you
Yes.
know, so this country, our country, our beloved country, is a little slow because other
Mm-hmm.
countries have had women leaders and they've done very well.
Very extremely well.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
And they have pulled up their nations.
Right. Right.
Look, I dare to say that they might be ready for Sister Harris after, if we can get through this
Yeah. They might be running.
running tour.
Yeah.
Save
Yeah.
us.
Yeah. So
No, I'll
so
be
so we
there.
So we want to honor the legacy and the life of Reverend Jesse Jackson. He would definitely be missed, even in his illness. You
Right.
know, he still was out there in many instances. So we want to just honor him
Mhm.
and his family and thank his family for sharing
Yes,
him with us and so
indeed.
in our prayers and thoughts or with
Yeah.
the Jackson family. So
Listen, and I think about that I am somebody, right?
yes,
Because
yes,
he understood who he was. He could
yes,
share that with us.
yes, yes. So powerful, powerful. I wanted to I want to talk about before we 'cause, we will I want to talk about the dance production that's coming up. Um, and I was going to mention something else, but it has left my mind, whatever it was.
Well, when it comes back, jump in and say it. It is
So
your show.
I want to talk about the dance production that's coming up
Yes.
by the Albany State University dance program
Right.
led by the incomparable,
Thank you very much.
the powerful Dr. Elizabeth Delancey. Tell us about the
Thank you so
dance.
much.
She didn't want me on. By the way, everybody, she didn't want me to be on her. She told me I couldn't be on anymore.
You did a beautiful job
I've been
last
thrown out
year.
of two places. Phoebe, my twins, because those of you that don't know me, I had a twin sister, Phoebe, who passed away in 2020. Phoebe was an entrepreneur with with the arts business. She did painting party, what they call painting sips, I think. And she banned me from painting. She said I was just too much. She spent more time trying to help me than she did with the
Mm-hmm.
Now, Liz, let me say this. Let's stick a pin here. I see my name bigger than yours. I don't know why. So don't take that.
Oh,
Um,
it's your show, ma'am. So
so,
I
yeah,
didn't even
so
pay that
I
any
don't know what
attention.
happened with that. So I want to stick to being. But she banned me from painting, and so you have banned me from being on your stage. But go ahead.
Yeah. I sure did. I sure did. Sure did. I know you were hot about it too, but good Lord, I'm like, now this woman is more work than my entire cast
I don't
and
know.
guests.
But what did I
Yes.
do? What
Oh
what did
my
I?
God. Woo. Lord Jesus, we don't have time because we need to talk about this year. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
So I was banned,
Mm-mm.
everybody. But now she wants to use
Yes.
my works, but she don't want me on stage.
Oh, Liz, yeah, absolutely, because your work is phenomenal, ma'am. And, in that last show, I think you contributed, I think about 5 pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we did a lot of choreo poems and like, well, choreo poems and just reading of your work.
Yes.
And so, in fact, before we talk about moving in the spirit, one of your poems will be used. We're going to restage the choreo poem "We the People" in
Okay.
two
Yes.
places this month on Sunday, this coming Sunday, at I almost said Bethel. Forgive me, that's my church in Tallahassee. At Mount Zion Baptist Church. On
Yes.
yes. Not and I believe the address, if I from memory, 901 South Westover.
It's on Westover. I don't know the exact address,
Right.
but yes.
I think that's it. But everybody
Yes.
knows where that beautiful church is. So
Mm-hmm.
we're going to so my two dancers will perform. One will dance and one will read your poem.
Okay.
And that's Greek Sunday. So if you don't have a church home, come on and go check it out. And wear your colors. Yes. Let me put my little ID together. I can't. Listen. This is new. This is new. We didn't do this. It was just this. So I'm still trying to get my fingers coordinated with that. So y'all have to bear with me.
I
But
tried to get
anyway,
my
yeah, we saw it. We saw it, ma'am. We saw it. Thank you.
okay.
Thank you. All right, but yes, there and then also at Lift Every Voice at
Yes.
6:30 at the Municipal Auditorium on Thursday. And my lovely dancers, they will also do that piece at the art school.
Okay.
Where is the I forgot the name of the school where Jasmine works.
Oh, is that radio? No.
No, it's not Radium. It's a
Albany
charter
Middle?
school.
Oh, a
It's a
charter
it's a
school.
it's a charter it's an arts charter school. Y'all know
Hmm.
what I'm talking about though. But Jasmine
Richardson.
Richardson.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes,
Yes.
and she's an actor and a
She's a
dancer.
singer. She's
She's a
also,
powerhouse. Yeah,
yes, she's,
like
she's a, yeah,
multiply
she's a
multiply
multi-talented.
talented.
Yes.
Yes, and so they're blessed to
Yes.
have her on. So they will perform your work. So your work is
Okay.
getting around.
Okay.
Yes, even though you will not be on stage.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I'm going to record my own
Mark,
poems.
yes, do that. And you look, and you're overdue for a reading, by the way. It's
Yeah,
been a
I
minute.
plan on doing one before the school year ends, before May.
Good. Good. And
On the
maybe
campus of Albany
in
State, if you can hook it
person.
up.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's do
Yeah.
that because you're overdue. You're definitely
Yes.
overdue.
I'm gonna
So
be mask
this,
everybody, but I'm gonna do it.
I can understand you fine.
Yes.
People can't read your lips, but they'll be able to hear you. So,
Yes.
they'll still see the freckles and all
Yes.
that. But yeah, so I think you should do that. But with this show, moving in the spirit, I revived some repertory from actually 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And the title "Moving in the Spirit." I'm like, let me borrow a page from the illustrious Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater and start using some rep.
Okay.
And so I have new dancers. But I decided to share the rep with them. And so we're doing some pieces from Moving in the Spirit, the original, and we're also doing some from Regarding Revolution.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, I think both. Well, no, yeah. So anyway, and so we have quite a lineup, and so all of the pieces are Christian themed.
Mm-hmm.
And then, oh my dear um, graduate of the dance program, who is the dance faculty person at Radium Springs
Middle.
Middle Magnet School of the Arts,
Mm-hmm.
Waikia Stallworth. She was Waikia McClendon, but now she's Stallworth. She will be performing, and her girls will be
Okay. I
performing. So
didn't know
they will
that.
be guesting. And I'm really thrilled by that because the last time we did Moving in the Spirit, she was one of the soloists. So
Okay.
it's, just to see, look, one of my children
Yeah. Yeah.
just carrying on the torch and, still passionate for dance and still dancing,
Mm.
and partying, and listen, and let me just say this, that I love what that little mama is doing because when I tell you she does not play the radio with her students.
Mm-hmm.
I taught a master class. They came to Albany State West, where my studio is, and listen, I was like, right there, yeah. And what I love about her is that she's teaching her, again, the word resilience. She
Yes.
is teaching her dancers about resilience because you cannot be thick-skinned and fulfill the duty of an artist,
Yes.
because you know what, bottom line is this: I am certain that there will be somebody in the audience who
Mm-hmm.
will not like some of my content on the 28th. And God bless you anyway. Okay. Because it's not for you to like everything, because some of it's, because, and if when you come to those things that you may not like, right, um examine why. Because art's not supposed to necessarily make you feel comfortable.
Right.
I mean, if
Yeah.
we're not poking a bear with a pointy stick, then why are we here? I mean, like I'm sitting, and behind me I have a beautiful work by your twin, and so yeah, that's beautiful, right?
Yes.
But not all art is, not all of it is beautiful. Some of it is designed to challenge people and their
Yeah.
thinking. And sometimes the art, the way that we put it across, whether it's visual art, dance, song, you think about Nina Simone and so many others,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
um Poetry, your work, Sonia Sanchez, Nikki Giovanni, Maya, right?
Yes.
Writers, I mean, my God, when was James Baldwin
James
not pointing
Baldwin.
something out?
Right.
And so the thing is, if you're not
Toni
doing
Morrison.
that, oh my God. And she will tell you in such a polite, sweet way that, you're
Right.
not the center of my story.
Right.
And how dare you ask?
You
It's
are
so funny
not.
that,
I don't. Yes.
No,
Yes.
you're not a part of my, I was like, oh, girl, okay. I mean, she just did it. So I aspire to be like her because she's just so even keeled and just,
Yeah.
my voice is going to be like, but anyway. So back to moving in the spirit. So there are some things that you may not like. There's some people that they may not like, but I
Mm-hmm.
want them to pull out that mirror and ask, why does it bother me?
Yeah.
Why? Because when former Mayor Andrew Gillum was running for governor, he
Mm-hmm.
said, "A hit dog will holler,"
Mm-hmm.
right? So why
Yeah.
are you hollering?
Yeah.
Okay. So, so it's an opportunity to say amen, say ouch, or whatever,
Yeah.
but come and enjoy because it's going to be fabulous. My
Yeah.
dancers have worked hard. They complain that they're working too hard. I gave them a break, and I hope they come into rehearsal tomorrow with their stamina ready
Yeah.
because, because we're coming up on spring break soon and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But we're
Another
working
break.
hard. We are working
Yeah.
hard to put together quality entertainment that they deserve to put on
Yeah.
and that our community deserves. Because listen, I maintain all the time that Albany State University has some of the best artists,
Mm-hmm.
period, and
I
certainly
agree.
in this region, and oh my
Yes.
God, in this city. And you do not have to drive
Right.
to see it.
Right.
You need to know about it, and sometimes
Yeah.
that's a bit of a challenge, getting the word out, and we're working hard to do a better job of that. And so that's why I think thank you so much, and my other friends in media like Carla Heath Sands, my soror.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Boomy, yes. And others, my other soror, Dr. Wendy Wilson, and with
Yes.
her show, and all of my friends who will share, and reshare and repost, and
Yeah.
even my dancers who are really great with TikTok and Instagram and always show me how to
Right.
pin what are the
Yeah.
messages because
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Anyway, I don't say email number. Okay, so let me just say
Yeah.
that. But anyway, but they are doing things that are getting the information out. But I hope that you come. We intentionally notice the date. It's March 28th. Last year we were up against our Little Sisters Crossing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And everybody had a line. And then it was just so much going on. And I'm like, oh my God. And then Monroe had their
Alumni
reunion,
weekend. Yes.
alumni weekend. And I was like, my God, you all are missing the most fabulous thing you'll see this year. So this time I moved it up.
So I don't know when
So
theirs is this year, but yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, but it better not be in March because I moved it up and I put
It's
tremendous
probably in
pressure on
March.
my,
It may not be that late in March, but it's probably in March. I don't
well,
know when it is. I
okay.
only know
Well,
when my
listen.
school, Doherty Comprehensive High School. I don't know when in
Okay.
Monroe. But
Okay.
we want to invite everybody. Please, please,
Yes.
please come and support this production.
And there are only 240 seats. Okay, that's what we have, two shows. Okay, so get your tickets. You can go ahead and scan the QR code. If you're
Yes.
watching on your computer, certainly it's a lot easier. But if you're on your phone, you might have to screenshot it and borrow somebody else's phone and make it
Yeah.
bigger. But tickets are available now. Get them
Go
while
ahead
you
and get your
can.
tickets. Go ahead. Why
Yeah,
you go ahead? Because,
yeah,
go ahead and get your
yeah.
tickets. You've been
Because
warned.
it's amazing. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
gonna be amazing.
Go
You
ahead and
know,
get
yeah.
your somebody says it's in April. I'm assuming they're talking about Philip Davis said that he's
Oh,
referring
okay.
to Monroe's
Okay, good. So it's in April. So
yes,
then,
yes.
Philip Davis,
Yeah.
come to the show, March 28th. It's
Yes.
before April, and you
Philip is a
won't regret
movement
it.
baby, by the way.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, then he'll
Yes.
love my show. He'll love
Yes.
it. He'll love it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
Yes.
so
Hmm.
well, yeah, everybody, I did not mention this, but I need to mention before we go off. But again, I'm going to be doing these. I'm going to be doing episodes at least twice a month. I'm going to promise you twice a month. Now this month it won't be this tonight, but next month we'll start. I'll start doing. We'll have different guests, different topics. Still want to talk about grief because everybody's dealing with some form of grief. There are people who are losing loved ones, and so we want to continue to talk about grief. We want to continue to talk about our culture, Black pride, resilience. We want to continue to talk about uh, faith, um, all the things I've talked about. There's a lot of things. The arts we want to continue to talk about. Just so many things. So we're gonna have some great guests. Dr. Lancey's gonna be again on with us. She's she's a phenomenal guest. So she's gonna be on too, I'm sure, at some point again. Probably
Thank
before
you.
the 28th of March, we're gonna do something
Please,
for
yes.
that.
Yes.
Yes. So, but I want you to know that I'm thankful to all of you for your support. I have gotten so many views on my content. Matter of fact, I didn't even do a Black Wednesday last night because I knew we were doing Black Wednesday yesterday because I knew we were doing this show tonight. But my Black Wednesday, my old school soul Saturday, the content that I did on the word woke has like almost 300,000 views. I saw that the other day. And people are still sharing that particular one. And I have just so much support. So I want to thank all of you for your support, particularly those on Facebook and those on YouTube. This was my first time doing a live on YouTube tonight. It's supposed to have been simultaneously with Facebook. I don't know because I don't have anybody that can check it for me while I'm on air. So if you happen to watch this on YouTube tonight live, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to those who have tuned in on Facebook. And so I will see you next month. Next month is Women's History Month. So we gotta do something to commemorate that particular month. The month for women. Okay. So just know this is gonna be a black. If it's a guest, it's gonna be a black woman. Okay.
Right. Well, yeah, we did say we're Black 365.
Right.
Yeah.
365.
Right.
Okay. That's
24/7.
not anti anybody else. Let me just say that. That doesn't mean
Yeah. What is that? I mean,
Yeah,
it's
I don't know what that
Black
is.
not anti whatever, but
Right.
again,
Yeah.
it sounds like a dog saying ouch. That's not
Right.
that's not for us to carry.
Right. That's not that I'm not gonna carry. We're not gonna carry a guilt.
You got to work that out yourself.
For being,
work that out.
You have to work
Or
it
don't.
out.
Yeah, that's not ours.
What does Karen Hunter call? What did she call them? What did she say? Numb. What did you mentioned it earlier?
The melanemic.
Yeah, melanemic group. I'm not gonna carry that.
Work it out. You can do
work it out. Work it out.
You can work it out.
Yeah. And if you can't work it out, Jesus can work it out. You can't work it out.
I like that song.
So,
yes, he can.
So thank you so much, Dr. Lancey, for being on my show.
Always a blast.
I got to stop looking down. My monitor is up here. Up there.
You're probably looking at your face, aren't you?
Yeah, I like looking at my face. I do like looking at my
counting
face.
freckles. Okay. You'll work on that, right?
I'll work on it. Yeah.
Good deal.
So have a good night, everybody. And again, thank you so much for joining us on Intersection. Have a good night.
Thank you for showing up at the Intersection. This is the Intersection podcast with Boomie Anderson. And whether you're watching on screen or listening on the go, we're glad you're here. Be sure to subscribe, share, and stay connected. Until next time, meet us back at the Intersection.